3 months ago, we finally did it. After about 10 years of farming commercially, we signed the deed and finally bought an off-grid piece of abandoned land here in Portugal. We've dreamt of this moment for a very long time. Ever since we got introduced to the concept of permaculture, we knew that we wanted to convert a neglected property into a thriving off-grid homestead. After traveling through Portugal in search for our dream property, we finally stumbled upon this incredible opportunity. Even though the land is very exposed, eroded and challenging, we fell in love with the place and we see the potential to create a self-sustaining paradise from scratch. After a big fire some 10 to 20 years ago, and besides a few olive trees, the previous owners had completely removed all the trees that once were growing here abundantly and left this place to regenerate on its own. Surprisingly, despite the challenging conditions, nature has done an outstanding job to restore the burned off ridge, and an abundance of rock rose, wild lavender and broom started to regenerate, vegetate and reclaim the rocky bare soil. Now it's our turn and our duty to support this natural succession and aid and assist nature to create a thriving, abundant, drought and fireproof ecosystem. For those of you who don't know me, 10 years ago I quit the traditional 9-to-5 lifestyle, left the comfort of my home and the city life in search for something different, away from all the chaos. I packed my bags, flew to the other side of the world and started my journey. That's when I met my beautiful wife, quite literally stumbled into farming and have been in love with the lifestyle it offers, and my wife ever since. But as many of you know, land prices are insane. It's nearly impossible to find land, to find something affordable for the average person. So our dream of owning a piece of paradise and create it into a beautiful, resilient and abundant homestead was quite far-fetched. So instead of spending years working and saving money with a regular job, we decided to start a farm on rented land. And that was really the best move we could have ever made. This allowed us to follow our dreams, live the lifestyle that offers one of the highest qualities of life in our opinions, whilst we were able to raise our daughters in the countryside and work hard towards realizing our biggest goal and our biggest dream, owning a small piece of land. After working hard for 5 years on rented property, we finally have been able to realize something that we desired ever since we got into farming. We bought a couple of hectares of raw abandoned land that we can now call home. A safe place where we can raise our children, grow our own food, build a legacy and live a simple life reconnected to nature. The land we bought is situated in central Portugal, is just over 3 hectares in size, with a south-facing slope going from the top of the ridge all the way down into the lower valley. There are many reasons that we chose to continue our journey in this country, which could be an entire video on its own. But the most important reasons we came here is the warm Mediterranean climate, the possibility to homeschool our daughters, the low crime rate in this country, and the cost of land is still accessible and affordable for the average person. For just over 3 hectares of beautifully located raw land, we paid 15,000 euros, which is something we would have never been able to get in France. The reason we bought this specific property is because it will allow us to reach some of our most important goals, and that is to become as self-reliant as possible, build a legacy and foundation for our children, document the entire process and share this journey with you in the hopes that you can learn from our successes and our failures and get more people successful in building a self-reliant homestead. We want to grow most of our own food, have a reliable source of water, build out some simple shelter and energy systems, but above all, appreciate and value the time we have, spend it with our loved ones and live a simple life in harmony with nature. To help us realize our goals, we will be using all the knowledge that we've acquired over the years of running our commercial farm. And we're going to convert this dry landscape into an abundant, thriving ecosystem. One of the great features of this land, which is going to help us a lot with the creation of the water systems and ultimately the resilience of this place, is the elevation difference and all the different microclimates that it offers. From the top of the ridge down to the bottom valley, there's about a 60-meter difference. Somewhere in between there is a reasonable sized plateau of around 1 hectare with relatively flat ground that offers great fire protection, hidden from the prevailing winter and summer winds, and opportunities to establish most of the infrastructure. With an average of roughly 700 millimeters of rain per year, there is enough water that falls on the land that we can then slow, spread and store in the soil and create a water retention landscape. The challenging part is that most of the rain only falls during a couple of months of winter, and it is our job to make sure that we capture and store most of it so that we can use it in the drier parts of the year. In the eastern interior of central Portugal, where there is the least influence of the ocean, we experience a dry and hot Mediterranean climate, which provides a mild winter with the occasional light frost and extremely long and hot summers with temperatures reaching up and above 40 degrees Celsius. This means that we must be very careful with our practices, create a good design, and try to capture every single drop of rain that falls on the landscape. To help us with this, we've created 5 swales so far, which are a great water capturing and tree growing system, which will stop all the rain that falls on the land, spread it out from the wet valleys to the dry ridges, and let it slowly soak into the soil to recharge the groundwaters and irrigate our tree systems. So far on these swales we've planted over 400 productive and support species. Not everything will work out, so we will continue to experiment with as many species as possible and only select the trees that will perform the best in this specific location. Generally, soils in this area are very alkaline, rocky, low in organic matter and overall poor in quality. Not really your typical kind of garden soil. So to increase the fertility of this land and the resilience of our homestead, we will rotate different kind of animals which will manure the ground, help with pest control, and provide us with a reliable source of high quality proteins. Over the years, my goal has been to share how we run our commercial farm to help others on their journey into farming by sharing our successes and our failures. But with everything that is going on, we're going to make some changes on this channel. My goal is to help as many people get as self-sufficient and self-reliant as possible by taking all the experiences and lessons that I've gained from doing commercial farming for over nearly a decade now and apply this knowledge to a small family-sized homestead. In the past, our videos were mainly focused on growing food commercially, but as we transition to a more traditional way of homesteading, we're going to make a lot more content related to growing, cooking and processing food. So from now on, rather than just showing you how to grow stuff commercially, I'm excited to go in the garden and share with you the entire process, going from field and gardens to table and storage. My goal is to document everything we're doing on this farm, the lifestyle, the building projects, the food, cooking, growing, conserving, and take you on our journey to live a simpler life and become more self-reliant, so that hopefully this will educate, motivate and inspire you to do the same thing, if of course you share the same passion and are into the kind of things like we are. Throughout this journey I will share our experiences, the mistakes we make and hopefully the successes that we will have, and I'm going to show you how we're going to convert this abandoned land into a thriving, future-proof homestead. I hope you can join us on this new adventure and find inspiration and motivation to follow your own dreams, because I truly believe that if you want something in life and you work hard for it, you can achieve nearly anything. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you along our journey and find value in these videos.